In the following video, we're going to be taking a look at how to make your drawing folder. You're going to need several items for this project. The first is going to be, obviously, a set of instructions. This can be found in our booklet. You're going to need a T-square, your drafting board, a 30-60 triangle, a scale, pencil, and a blank piece of paper. We're going to first start with a piece of rough draft computer paper along with a piece of tape, 3 inches to 4 inches long. We will then also need a piece of 12 by 18 paper that we will fold in half later on. To begin, what we're going to do is we're going to turn our drawing board so it's in portrait mode rather than landscaping mode. We're going to take our T-square, line our paper up, we're going to take that piece of tape that we stuck to our clothing, we're going to split it into 4 little pieces, starting to tape the top first. Take your hand, run your hand down the paper. Make sure that you're pulling all the wrinkles out. Using the instructions from either pages 9 and 10 or the visual instructions found on page 11, I'm going to go through and I'm going to start marking my measurements. You can see here in the video I'm marking my 1/2 inch border to start with. If you were to look at page 9, that is going to be instructions 4, and then after that we would start with step 5. So step 4 says that we need to measure out our 1/2 inch borders. We need to mark them in 8H pencil. 8H pencil is basically a very, very light line. When we want to create a light line with a traditional pencil, we simply just hold the pencil closer to the eraser. I'm then going to go ahead and create my vertical lines. Notice that when I'm creating these vertical lines, my tooling isn't long enough to create the line as one unison. So what I have to do is I have to reset the tooling. Now somebody's going to think, hey, I can just take my T-square and turn it 90 degrees. Wrong. A T-square is only for horizontal lines. It is not for vertical lines. So keep that in mind. Next, I'm going to use the information that I'm finding on page 11 to quickly and easily mark out my measurements. Now, what I would like you to do is I'd like you to look back on pages 9 and 10 to understand what you need to be writing and what your line weights need to be. If it says 8H in parentheses, that's a very light line. If it says 2H, that's a very dark line. So again, I'm just going through here. I'm measuring out my marks of 3 and 8/16, 10/16, 8/16, 10/16, 8/16, 10/16, 8/16, and 10/16 again. You'll notice that I said those in their non-reduced form. So if you need to convert it over, it's 8/16 is a half, 10/16 is 5/8, 4/16 is a quarter, so on. You're going to notice here, I'm drawing my lines very lightly, and I'm going from border edge to border edge. Trying to keep my T-square as straight as possible. taking my time, drawing my lines as light as possible, trying to do them in one smooth motion. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start putting in my information of my last name, comma, first initial. One suggestion I have that I do not go through and show you on the sheet is to find where the approximate center is for all of the lines that you're going to be writing in. Count out the number of letters that you have in your last name, plus a comma, plus a space, plus your first initial. Whatever that number is, let's say it happens to be there's 10 letters, spaces, and comma. When you add everything together, you have 10. If I divide that by 2, that gives me 5. So whatever the fifth letter would be, whether it be an actual letter, a space, or a comma, you would put that at the dead center of that line that we are writing on. And then you would go ahead and put in your name, writing either backwards or forwards from that point. Also, keep in mind, mistakes can happen when you're concentrating on how to write the letters rather than how to write the word. Letters can be forgotten. I do that when I write the next line, not this line, but the next line for production. Take a look and see if you notice what mistake I make. Again, I could have probably taken this design drawing, counted out the letters, figured out where the center is, and started from the center and worked my way to the left and to the right, giving myself a better looking overall project. However, I'm just doing this for a demonstration for you, so you get the idea. Now keep in mind, this is only a rough draft, so rough draft simply means just that. It's a rough draft. When you do your final copy, or even when you do your rough draft, make sure where it says last name, comma, first, you use your last name and your first initial, not writing last name, comma, first. We have many students that get so involved into just the writing and copying of what's going on that they forget to put their information in rather than whatever is said on the sheet. So here's where I was talking about that mistake that I wrote. Anybody notice it? Good. Production. P-R-O-D-U-C-T-I-O-N. I forgot the C. It happens. Remember, we're human. I make mistakes all the time. And I'm sure you do also. That's why we write in pencil, so that we don't make mistakes. All right. Now, last thing I'm going to do here is in the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to measure a 1/4 inch down so that I can put my seat number. I don't need to draw a line all the way across. I'm realizing that. I only need to put it in that upper right-hand corner. There's no exact measurement for it. Just make it look good. Once you've completed your rough draft, show it to a shoulder mate. See if they notice any mistakes that there might be. If everything looks good to them and you're happy with it, go ahead and move on to your final copy. Your final copy is going to start off with this 12 by 18 paper. We're going to fold it lengthwise. We're going to match the corners up so that we end up with a piece of paper that is now going to be 12 inches tall by 9 inches wide. This is going to allow us to store all of our drawings in this for the future so that we don't have any damage occurring to our drawings. You'll notice where I've got my seam is on my left-hand side. I'm pointing it out here right now. Again, you're going to square it up just as we did before. You're going to tape it down just as we did before. And you're going to do your measurements just the same as you did before. Notice I have the instructions out, and I'm going to be reading through the instructions just to make sure that I understand everything 100%. Originally, when we did the rough draft, we just went through and did all the visual, looking at page 11. Now I really want you to focus on pages 9 and 10. When you're all done, this is what your folder should look like. Good luck. Turn it in when you are complete for a grade.